Enroll your child for the manifested e-learning platform and see their grades grow tremendously. These videos can be downloaded to a laptop for offline viewing or viewed from a smartphone in a cost-friendly format.
Hello learner, welcome back to Manifested e-learning platform. I'm Philip, your social studies teacher. And in today's session, we shall be learning about climatic condition in a map. Climatic condition in a map. Remember, map work is still in physical environment. Physical environment. Physical environment. And in today's topic, it's climatic conditions. Climatic condition. Climatic conditions in an area. In an area. Climatic condition in an area. What is climate? To start with, what is climate? Climate is the average weather conditions of a place over a long period of time, and mostly 30 to 35 years. So when you hear that a place has this kind of a climate, is not a one-day job. It is an average weather condition of day after day after day for 30 to 35 years. That is climate. But that's not our major concern today. Our concern is how will you tell that this area has this climate. This area experiences this climate. And which are these climate we are talking about? There are three categories of climatic conditions that we are supposed to know about. And these ones, number one is a hot and wet. Hot and wet. Hot and wet. Category number one of the climate condition that we are supposed to know and learn is hot and wet. How will you know that an area experiences hot and wet climatic conditions? First of all, you'll have to identify. And what will help you to identify? We shall see in a moment. Number two, we have cool and wet. Cool and wet climatic conditions is the second category. Cool and wet. What in the map will tell us exactly that we have cool and wet conditions in the whole map, or sometimes in a part of that map. And number three, we also have hot and dry. Hot and dry. Hot and dry conditions. These are the three categories that we are supposed to learn when it comes to climatic conditions in a map. So first of all, we want to learn. If an area has hot and wet, what evidence will show you? What exactly will tell you that this area has hot and wet conditions? If an area experiences cool and wet conditions, what will tell you? What evidence in the map? What you will have to support your climatic conditions with certain evidence in the map that tells you that this one tells you there is this climate, this one tells you that this is there is this climate, hot and dry, hot and dry. And let us now see. We know now the categories of climatic conditions: hot and wet, or maybe cool and wet, and hot and dry. Let us see now what will tell us in a map that this area has first hot and wet. Hot and wet. So A, hot and wet. Hot and wet. Hot and wet. And our concern now is to know what exactly will tell us that an area experiences hot and wet conditions. Hot and wet conditions. And this one is very simple. When you want to know that an area has hot and wet condition, it's very simple. You just require to look at the map. And if in that map you happen to see a lake, examples of things that you should look for: a lake or an ocean or a large water body like a dam, a big dam, then that area near the lake, near the ocean, or near the dam will experience hot and wet conditions. Areas that are near a lake, near an ocean, near a dam, in that given map will definitely tell you that that area receives hot and wet conditions. But I have to warn you, not always will you say that an area that has a lake, an ocean, or a dam or a large water body has hot and wet. There can be change of things. When does that one happen? When do you change your answer to something else and there is a lake and there is an ocean or there is a dam? Let me give an example. Let me give a viable example. This is a lake, and I've explained that areas near a lake, this is a lake, areas near a lake, the surrounding of the lake, are supposed to experience hot and wet conditions. It is as simple as that. But I've also said that answer can change. The only thing that can change an answer of hot and wet to something else is presence of scrubs. Presence of scrubs near the lake. Because when it comes to climate, the very first thing that we give attention to is the natural vegetation. If there are scrubs near the lake, it means this lake is very useless. It is not modifying the climate of its surrounding. Because if it was modifying, it is supposed to be causing convection or rainfall, and things, natural vegetation like scrubs, are not supposed to be near that lake. So if there is a lake and a scrubs, that is not hot and wet. It will be hot and dry, as we shall see when we are explaining hot and dry. So the only time you write that an area has hot and wet conditions is when there is a lake, or either an ocean, or either a dam with no scrubs or scattered grass around the lake, meaning that lake has modified its surrounding and they are receiving convection or rainfall, and that area will be said to be experiencing hot and wet conditions. On to our second climatic condition, and that is cool and wet. Cool and wet conditions. Cool and wet condition. Now this one is another one. What evidence shall we be looking for when we want to say that an area indeed experiences cool and wet conditions? Number one, we need to see some crops that tells they do well in cool and wet conditions. And these crops includes the crops that does well in cool and wet conditions includes coffee, tea, pyrethrum, coffee, tea, pyrethrum, coffee, tea, and pyrethrum. In a map, if you happen to see a section or a whole map having these crops, coffee, tea, pyrethrum, that area, that climatic region of that area is with no single doubt cool and wet. Why? Because coffee, tea, and pyrethrum, they do well in cool and wet conditions. Another thing that will give us a very, very good evidence of cool and wet conditions is highlands. 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 How will you know that a place is highland? How will you know that a place is a highland? In most cases, in highlands, that is where you will see the source of a river. The source of rivers, the source of rivers, the source of rivers. Where you see the source of a river, most rivers have their sources in the highland. And that place where you'll see the source of the rivers. And how will you know that that is where the source of the rivers are, or the source of a river is? You'll see tributaries, tributaries. That place where you'll see small rivers that join to form a large or a big river, they are called tributaries. Where you'll see the tributaries, that is where the source of the river is. That's where the source of the river is. Where you see tributaries, tributaries are small rivers that join to form a big river. Where you'll see the tributaries in the map, that means that is where the source of that river is. And if that is the source, that is where the source of the river is, that place is a highland. Rivers have their sources in the highland, and highlands have cool and wet conditions. Highlands have cool and wet conditions. That's another very good example of evidence that will tell you indeed that place or that area experiences cool and wet conditions. So these are two good examples that you are supposed to be looking for when you want to ascertain that an area has cool and wet conditions. That an area has cool and wet conditions. What will you go for? Highlands. How will you identify a highland? By checking the source of the river. How will you know that this river originates from this place? You'll see small rivers that we call tributaries. These two are very, very good examples and enough evidence to show you that an area receives cool and wet conditions. On to the last one. Let's get to the last one, and that one is hot and wet. Hot and wet. Hot and wet. Hot and wet. This one should have been B, and this one is C. Hot and wet. Hot and dry. Sorry, hot and dry. 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 Hot and dry areas. Now, the same thing. We are trying to give evidence that will tell us that an area receives hot and dry conditions in a map. And without much ado, these are some of the examples that will give you a straight ahead answer, a straightforward answer about area being hot and dry. Number one, scrubs. 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 It is the nature of the scrubs to grow in areas that are hot and dry. Hot and dry areas means are areas that do not have enough rainfall. They receive little rainfall. They receive little rainfall. Areas that receive little rainfall, we call them hot and dry areas. So hot and dry climatic conditions will be shown by presence of scrubs. Number one. If you see scrubs, that place does not receive rainfall, or rather it does not receive enough rainfall. Scrubs. Number two, scattered grass. Scattered grass. Scattered grass. That means that the grass is not even continuous. It is scattered, literally because that area also does not receive enough rainfall. Scattered grass. Something else. Short bushes, sometimes short thorny bushes. Short thorny bushes will be also a good indicator that that place receives hot and dry. And maybe finally boreholes. Borehole or boreholes. They might be many or maybe one. A borehole means that those people do not have enough rainfall. And that is why they are drilling water to sustain themselves, or maybe for irrigation or anything. Boreholes means that place is hot and dry. You don't go to a place that it rains every day and drill a borehole. A borehole, short bushes, sometimes short thorny bushes, scattered grass and scrubs are very good indicators that an area receives hot and dry conditions. Maybe to give an example in a map, maybe to give an example of what we have said in a map, how are you supposed to identify? And it's good to understand that a map might have all these climatic conditions, the three of them, or maybe one. It might have the three of them, or sometimes one of them. A good example. Let me give an example of a map. Assuming this is my map here. That is my map there. And my river, there is River Philip there. That is River Philip, and it is draining to that lake there. And we have agreed very well that an area might have the three of them: hot and wet, cool and wet, hot and dry, or one of them. You must be very keen. You must be very keen when attempting these kind of climatic conditions. Now, here there is plantation of tea plantation, and coffee plantation perhaps down there. Coffee and tea plantation there. And maybe up here there are scrubs. Up here there are scrubs. There are scrubs where they are doing pastoralism. Now, if this is an example, it's good to know that what you're supposed to do is be very, very, very specific on the area or the part of the area. For instance, let us try to give examples of questions. Which is the main climatic condition, or what is the climatic what is the climatic condition? What is the climatic condition of northeastern part of the map? Part of the map. What is the climatic condition of northeastern part of the map? Is the map asking you about the whole map? No. It is asking about a part of that map, not the whole map. So it is always advisable for you to be having a compass across the whole map. Never eat sukuma wiki. This is north, this is east, this is south, this is west. So the question is northeastern. Northeastern. So northeastern is this area here. We are not asked about southeastern. We are not asked about southwestern or northwestern part. No. The question is very specific. And actually is not actually asking about the whole map. It is very, very specific. Northeastern. Northeastern happens to be around there. So what is the conditions of northeastern? Now, before you identify, you need to know, you go for the evidence. According to this area, we have a highland. This area is a highland. We said a highland is where a river has its source. How do you know that a river has its source there? The tributaries. And these are the tributaries. You can see the tributaries, so that's a highland. There are crops, coffee and tea. And what does coffee and tea symbolizes? Cool and wet condition. So we shall be very, very, very right to write that that place receives cool and wet conditions. Cool and wet climatic condition. What have we done? We have ascertained, we have seen the evidence that we need to say that that area receives cool and wet. Let's try another one. What is the climate? What is the climate? What is the climatic? What is the climatic? What is the climatic condition of southwest of southwestern part of the map? Part of the map. Look at another question. What is the climatic condition of southwest? Does it require you to go through the whole map? No. The question is very, very specific. Southwest. Southwestern happens to be around there. So what is in southwestern? We have a lake. What have we said about areas that have a lake or an ocean or a dam? Those areas receives hot and wet conditions. Hot and wet conditions. We are using the evidence. It's not a matter of guessing. No. You have to give us substantial evidence for you choosing a certain climatic condition. And maybe if you can do the last one, what is the climatic condition of northwest? Assuming you have another question, northwest, you shall go to the northern western part of the map, and what you can see in the northwestern part of the map, we have what? We have scrubs. We have scrubs. We have scrubs. What do scrubs signify? What do they signify? What do they show? They show that area have hot and dry condition. Hot and dry conditions because scrubs tell you that areas that have scrubs do not receive enough rainfall for the growth of other things but scrubs. Scrubs, hot and dry. Scrubs, hot and dry. This is one instance when a map might be having more than one condition. But sometimes one map will be having one climatic condition. But for the example purposes, I have given a map that has all of them so that when they bring or when you come across a map that has only one, you'll be able also to identify, because it's a matter of just looking at the evidence that supports that that area receives what type of climate. And this is the end of our session today. And I'm sure by now you are able to identify climatic conditions by giving evidence. And for your practice, revision practice, I'll give you something to work on. And please do not forget to submit your work into our platform so that we can go through your work and give you feedback on the same. So I'll give you an assignment. Your assignment will be, there is a map. Let me try to draw a simple map for you. a simple map for you, please. That is our map, and that is my river, for instance. That is the river, and there is a lake, and there is a lake there, and there is a lake there, and here we have coffee plantation. We have coffee plantation, and we have pyrethrum plantation in the lower part. Okay, and maybe we have some scrubs there, and a borehole, scrubs plus a borehole there. Then with that, they will give you enough evidence on climatic conditions. So let's go to the questions. Question number 1. Question 1. Attempt this. What is the climatic condition of eastern part of the map? Eastern part of the map. Question 2. What is the climatic condition of southwestern part of the map? Southwestern part of the map. Question 3. What is the climatic condition of southeastern part of the map? These are enough questions for your practice. Please, it is simple. Identify the climatic condition by giving out evidence. It is only the evidence that will ascertain that that area receives that kind of climate without any doubt. So, question number 1, what is the climatic condition of eastern part of the map? What is the climatic condition of the eastern part of the map? You'll go to the eastern, gather your evidence, and identify the climatic condition. What is the climatic condition of the southwestern part of the map? Okay, collect the evidence from southwestern. Let us know which climatic condition. We are waiting for your answers. What is the climatic condition of the southeastern part of the map? And it is very, very, very simple. And if you did not understand, rewind, go back and understand what evidence support what climate. And with that, thank you. God bless you. Forward your homework.